On everyone. So Anthony Davis is in the gym. He's been working hard. He's been weightlifting. He's been training, working on the shot. He's been doing everything, putting in the work, putting in the hours, and you'll love to see it. Because I've said it before, I'll say it again. We go as far as Anthony Davis takes us. If Anthony Davis is that Kevin Garnett, as he said, MVP level, then I absolutely think the Lakers go on a real run this season and potentially win an NBA championship. I think they have enough talent. I think they have enough depth. They have the two stars that have already won an NBA championship. They have Austin Reeves in his emergence. On top of his emergence, he's playing with Team USA and really thriving with Team USA. So you got to imagine that that's something that should carry over into the regular season. If he continues to grow, he continues to develop, steps into a playmaking role, I think that the sky's the limit for the Lakers, right? There's very few teams in this league that you look at and go, all right, like they match up well with the Lakers. Lakers got the size. The big problem was Denver. You had Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka both relay that one of the reasons they put the roster that they put together this year was to match that. Because they were bigger than most of the teams, but they weren't big enough against Denver. And yet they were still right there in every game. I know that they got swept, but that series could have easily flipped the other way, right? The Lakers were in those games, were close in those games, and just weren't able to overcome those late game surges by the Denver Nuggets. And, credit Denver, but they also hit some ridiculous shots, and it just, those types of things are momentum and just energy killers. But nonetheless, Denver is definitely a team that's up there. You got the Phoenix Suns, who on paper are terrifying, right? But how do they work? How do they mesh? Is Bradley Beal going to really be able to be a serviceable point guard? We'll see how that goes. Obviously, out east, you got the Boston Celtics, you got the Milwaukee Bucks. But regardless, I think the Lakers are top 5 team, maybe top 6 team, depending on how things shape up in the entire NBA. So they are a legit contender, and this was a team that is going to have a full offseason, a full training camp. The core of this roster got to play through that grueling playoffs as well as a couple games beforehand. And now we'll get to see what they're able to do this upcoming season. And I really like the upgrades. But at the end of the day, it's on Anthony Davis's shoulders. And it's good to see him in the gym. It's good to see him working out. It's good to see him, playing hard to get ready for this season. He just got his contract, so now you don't have that, dark cloud over the Lakers this season of like, is Anthony Davis, is he staying? Is he going? Are the Lakers going to trade him? Is he going to get extended? What's going to happen? He also showed that he can play through the knick-knack injuries and he could actually finish a playoff series without missing games. So that's good. That's something that hopefully continues, and that's a trend that goes forward. Because, look, we got LeBron James this year, but he could easily leave after this year. Or even if he does opt in, or let's say he does restructure his contract to go get another piece or two or something, right? We still are a couple years away at most from LeBron James departing and Anthony Davis being the guy. And Anthony Davis needs to be the guy now, right? But in the same breath, the Lakers have to do their part to get him the ball. Darvin Ham has to do his part of getting him the ball. We heard Darvin Ham even say, he is a dumb coach that needs to get him the ball. Okay, that's fine. You got to do that, right? And that's one of the things about D'Angelo Russell that I think will help AD. He was one of the few guys that actually tried to get AD the ball and was one of the few guys that operated well in the pick and roll with him. AD, D'Lo, pick and roll was one of the best offensive plays in the entire league last year. I imagine that continues, especially as they build their chemistry. But LeBron James keeps saying he wants to play off the ball more. He wants Anthony Davis to step up. He wants AD to be the guy. You got to get him the ball, right? You got to allow him to be the guy. But I think it's interesting that he's bulking, or he looks like he's bulking up and just getting in shape, and his shoulders look a little broader, and just he looks good. He does. He looks really good. But one of the things is they want to run Jackson Hayes at center, right? And AD doesn't want to play center much. So you would think, look, it's good that he's slimming down and that he's getting in shape and playing well, because you want him to, again, continue to be able to knock down the perimeter shots and be able to kind of move more freely, especially if he's going to play more power forward. And that's also good compared to, a couple seasons ago where he kind of came in and it looked like he was a little out of shape, a little overweight. It's like now he's in the gym, he's in the weight room. It's what you want to see. But, him bulking up, him getting stronger, kind of leads me to believe that he's preparing to play center more, right? That he's willing to play center. Granted, he's been very public, very open about him not wanting to play center. It's not that he doesn't want to play center entirely. He doesn't mind playing center here and there. I mean, he's one of the best centers in the entire league, right? But he doesn't want to have to play 90% of his games at the center position like he did last year. He wants to play, like, if I have to close games at center, that's fine. But throughout the course of the game, let me just play power forward, flip back and forth, which I'm totally okay with, right? I do want to see, what does it look like with Jackson Hayes at the 5 and AD at the 4? If the Lakers get somebody else, right? Obviously, there's all the talks about Christian Wood. Okay, if the Lakers get Christian Wood, how does that look? Does Christian Wood able to play the 5 with AD at the 4? Or maybe on, defense, that's how it goes, but on offense, I don't know. There's ways that they can work it, or if they get another just sizable center, right? Bismack Biyombo, or if they end up getting like a Myers Leonard or something. How does that look? I'm totally okay with playing AD at the 4, but the big games, the crunch time games, the big moments, you need to play AD at the 5, right? Especially when we get to the playoffs. I mean, even the 2020 year, right? Yeah, AD played a lot of 4, but when the game was on the line, or it was a big game, or it was a closeout, or the last 5 minutes, whatever, AD was playing the 5. So he needs to be prepared for that. He needs to continue to go for that. But, I mean, this guy is a ridiculous talent. There are very few players in the history of the game that have his tools, right, to be 7 foot or 6'11" and be able to score at all 3 levels, and his passing ability and his ability to just completely shut down and control games on the defensive end. Very few. He's the best defender in the league, bar none. It's funny that as much criticism as I see people talk about Anthony Davis, or, I'll get comments of like, Anthony Davis is washed. It's like, dude, the guy led the league in 30 and 15 games. He led the league in 35 and 15 games. The guy averaged 26 with 12 rebounds, 3 blocks. Like, if that's washed, or if that's poor, that's not top 10 players, then I don't know what is, man. Like, I mean, this guy is ridiculous. But it's the consistency. He does need to be consistent. That's the one thing out of all that we need to see Anthony Davis be. He's always consistent on the defensive end. You never have to worry about him on the defensive end. But offensively, his 15 in is still butter. It's still money. But 15 out, he's really struggled since the bubble year. Free throws, he's kind of been up and down on, right? He has the offensive bag. He's got the arsenal. He's just got to put it all together. And if he can do that, then the Lakers are going to be very tough to beat, if you can even beat them in a 7-game series. Because if you got AD putting up 25 to 30 a night, then all the power to it. Now, I don't mind AD's unselfishness, right? I said it last year. If everybody's killing it and guys are on, and D'Lo is just going off for 30, and Austin Reeves has got 25, and the team as a team is just blowing them out, and it's a blowout, you're up 30, and AD's only got like 12 points, why would he overexert himself? Why would he overwork him to what? Just prove that he got 25? I don't mind it when he has those games. Like, we saw several of those games, right? Even in the playoffs, there were a couple games where it was like, we won, and AD only had like 15. It was like, he didn't need to score more, right? You had Austin Reeves cooking. You had, D'Lo cooking in the third. You had LeBron. Like, why would you want to take away from that? Lock down defensively, rebound, and focus on the other stuff, right? Like, I don't mind that. But when we need him to go get 25, or we need him to take over a game late down the stretch, I need to see that in Anthony Davis. That's been a big issue, is his inability at times to just completely dominate and take over, right? We saw that in the bubble year, right? I mean, he was hitting game winners and rattling off 10 straight points and just being a monster. So we know he's capable of doing it. We just need to see him put it together this year. And I really do think that we can thrive. But again, you have to put him in that position, right? It's hard for AD to go and get you 15 points in the fourth quarter when the players on the court aren't even looking to get AD the ball, right? Like him getting 1 or 2 shot attempts in the fourth, you got to figure it out. I understand teams are double teaming him. I understand, like, you got to figure it out. You got to figure out a way to get him the ball, put him in position, put him in sets to where he can get the ball and just go to work. But in the same breath, Anthony Davis has to be more assertive. He has to be more demanding of that ball. He needs to fight and get in that position to get the ball, right? Like if he's just kind of standing there and you got to try to throw it over 3 guys to get the ball to Anthony Davis, then no, you're not going to do it. But if Anthony Davis is fighting over those guys and you need to not look away, you need to go get him the ball. If he's fighting for position and calling for the ball, go get your man the ball. Anthony Davis has all the tools. He has everything we need to be the number 1 guy and lead us to an NBA championship. We got the roster around him. We have a roster that's good enough to contend. We have a roster that I think, and I've said this and I really do believe this, and we'll see, time will tell. We'll be in the NBA season before we know it. But I think if LeBron wasn't on this roster, right, I still think they would have a chance. If you get MVP level Anthony Davis, right? If we get bubble Anthony Davis, I still think with all this talent, all this depth, Austin Reeves' ability to go off for 20 plus any given night, D'Lo could go off for 20 plus any given night, Anthony Davis just being able to go get you 25 to 30 every single night and lock it down defensively. You got all the wing depth, you got all the size, you got Rui who could go off for 20 on any given night. Like all of that, I do think that this is a team that could really compete, right? And that's our future, right? If LeBron leaves after this year, if we don't get another star year 1, this is our roster. And so is this roster good enough? I think so. Even without LeBron, I still think that there are very few teams that can match up with this Lakers roster. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this ages like spoiled milk. Time will tell, right? I'm not saying I don't want LeBron. I absolutely want LeBron. And that's what I think basically makes us unbeatable if Anthony Davis is MVP level. Because you'd have MVP level Anthony Davis with all these guys. Oh, yeah, and you have LeBron James, right? Like, I think that is the difference between us being, the 6th best team or 5th best team to, oh, we got LeBron James. We are now the best team. And we'll probably have a number 1 defense. I think we have a top 5 offense, which means we are one of, if not the best teams in the league. Those are my thoughts and opinions, and as always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think of seeing AD like this? What do you think happens? Do you think AD gets it going? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below.